When was the last time that you felt so grateful that you thought you might explode? Remember how good that feels? Do your best to try and feel that feeling now. Go back to that memory place in your head. Save those memories in your head so you can return to them frequently. Today we have got the CEO of a toy company called the Gratitude Bear, which aims to upskill the next generation with the capability to burst with gratitude on demand. Now that's a red hot education I agree with. Hello, you beautiful creative genius, and thank you for being here. Thank you for listening in. I am so grateful to make this content for you. Welcome to the most beautifully creative episode yet. I make this show to share with you some beautiful work that creative geniuses are doing. Let it get you a buzz with good vibes. I've got a whole back catalogue now of great shows. Check out artonfirepodcast.com to see the show notes for this episode and to find another episode that'll get you buzzing. I make this show just about every week, and I have live shows too, where you can tune in via Zoom. And I mean you, whoever you are, I mean you. I'd love for you to join us at the next one. At the moment, I'm focusing on telling the story of the creation of the Ningaloo Eclipse Fest. This is a live and unfolding, exciting story. Tune into it. Someone who does tune into the shows and makes it possible is Shari Hutchison, the latest person to subscribe on Patreon. Thank you, Shari, for signing up. I'm stoked to have your support on that platform so I can keep doing this work for our community. I really believe that the guests on this show are spreading some great vibes around the world, and their voices are worth sharing. A man who loves to spread great vibes is today's guest, Aaron Spain. He is a burner that has devoted his energy to a toy company, the Gratitude Bear. The company are on a mission to share a conscious way of teaching our kids IQ, EQ, and WeQ through the practice of gratitude and story time. Their project is currently raising 20 grand on Kickstarter so they can fund their first round of production from a community of supporters, and they're on track for a successful campaign. Check them out on Kickstarter. See show notes on the website. Aaron started the project after he completed some personal development projects and realized that the value of cultivating a feeling of gratitude in oneself is super important. He became convicted to the idea that just that one skill, the ability to feel gratitude, was invaluable, and if shared with the young, it could create a much brighter and happier future. He is a giver who loves to make his friends happy and is pouring that same giving energy into the company he started and is now the CEO of. He has a great big heart and his friends love him dearly. To me, I'm getting a good dose of genius vibes from him. And if you want to feel the way a genius does, and that's bursting with gratitude, then I've got a gift for you to get you warmed up. It's called the Genius Ignition System. 100% of the time that you do this and listen to this show, you will take away something huge from this show. And today, may that be a feeling of gratitude and ability to tune in to gratitude and some cool stories. Here's how it works. I need you, whoever you are, I mean you, whoever's listening, to rub your hands together right now. Get those hands rubbing together if you want to have a good time with this show. And in a moment's time, we're going to do a countdown, a simultaneous clap, and a declaration. 3, 2, 1. I've touched a genius.
I've touched a
That's
genius.
the declaration. Remind yourself of it often. Now let's go on an adventure.
G'day, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here.
That was wicked, man. Thanks very much.
Thanks for humoring me through my daggy intro. And hey, man, thank you so much for actually reaching out. You are the first person who's reached out to us to be on the show, so I'm stoked about that. This is, I think, episode number 14. So for every other episode, I've had to get on the phone with people, which has been great. I've loved calling people to be like, hey, can you be on this show? And it's amazing how many people will say yes. But it was really lovely to hear from you and find out about the things that you're doing, because I didn't know about the things that you were doing. I did know that you'd done a lot of personal development work, and I had seen that you're involved in gratitude challenges and other kinds of personal development things, but I hadn't realized that you'd kind of gone down. Yeah, I hadn't realized you'd gone down this step. And then when you reached out and I started exploring your website and seeing the team that you've got on your website and the quality of the things that you've got there, and then to arrive life today to see that you've got a prototype of the Gratitude Bear and the book and the things and all the things that are going on. I'm a bit blown away. So, man, just do you want to get us started and just tell us a little bit about like how this has become the trip that you're on?
Yeah, man. Well, as you said into the introduction as well, like a lot of personal development work I started doing years ago. And one thing that I came across was a 28-day gratitude challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably about 4 or 5 years
By
ago.
who? Like where?
I think it was a girl called Dee. I forget what her surname is, Dee Ibris, but that's her daughter's name. But Kenny Buck invited me into it, and it was Annalise, Olivier. There was a good group of people, and they said, come on, do this for 28 days. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not, you know? So it's quite easy practice. Every day you have like, one day you have like a magic stone, you have like, but every day you have to write 10 gratitudes that are based on anything. As soon as you get up in the morning, you do it. I emphasised a bit. I done a bit of breath work on each gratitude as I wrote it to really foundate myself into it. But I noticed that after about 14 days, I was getting quite upset, and I was really getting quite emotional because I was like, just being grateful for so many simple things. And people say, oh, how can you be grateful for so many things? But you can be grateful for the sun, you can be grateful for the grass, you're grateful for your feet for carrying it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start getting in tune with a lot of this, with all the development work I've done already through like the Tim Morrison's courses and stuff, when we came into that, I was really sitting there, I was reflecting on a lot of situations I went through when I was younger. And then not only did I say, I wish I had done gratitude now, I wish I had done it 10 years ago. Then I was like, fuck, I wish I had it 20 years ago. And then I was like, geez, I'm 26. Imagine I had this when I was 6 years of age. And then I started thinking about the normal core limiting beliefs that kids get into effective when you're 0 to 7 and before your personality is built from your parents. I started thinking about how my parents were as parents and how they'd done their best that they could, that they knew from their parents. But then all of a sudden you wake up and you go, geez, imagine they had gratitude. And then it just started all coming together. I said, would they have practiced it? Would they believed in it? Because it was a different story 30 years ago. But then as I went into the practice and a lot stronger in it, I really reflected on what would happen if I had this. Then based that on, my dad has 11 kids. We have a huge family.
Holy smokes.
And then from that, I think we have 14 nieces, nearly average in the family. There's like 3 nephews. I think balance it out. And then I remember thinking years ago, I was like, the kids, my nieces and nephew that are coming up now, how can we change the path for them? And I remember years ago talking to my sister about a toy. I don't know whether I mentioned, it's okay to mention a toy, is it?
Yeah, sure.
There's one called the Baby Born.
Yeah,
and what happens is my little 2 or 3 year old niece was running around, and at 2 o'clock you have to feed the baby, and 4 o'clock you have to change the baby's nappy, and it was all this, and it was
just grooming young kids to become diaper changers.
You know what I mean? Straight into it. It's all, a lot of it's based on IQ. You know, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to learn, and this is what you're going to become. So then I was sitting there going, oh, what? There's not really much out there in emotional intelligence. And I started searching the market, and I was looking at everything, and there was some emotional intelligence toys, there was some books, and there was
so hang on, so you saw this Baby Bjorn toy, and what, you're just disgraced, offended at what's going on with in the world of toys. And I remember there's got to be something better than Baby Bjorn.
Baby Born, yeah. But there's other ones like you think about
Baby Bjorn.
A little blonde wig on it.
Yeah. Baby Born. Yeah, you're like, there's got to be something better, and then.
But even if you look at little boys, like little boys are given hammers and they're given helmets and they're given all these things, and you're going to become.
Oh man, especially here in Western Australia, you're grooming every single one of those kids to become a miner as early as possible. It's just like if they're not driving a Tonka truck, they're going to be an engineer.
And I'm not dissing like the traditional society toys, you know what I mean? Because this is what there is. This is what kids love. They love the dolls. They love makeup. They love all of this. But from my market, I was saying, what can I do different? And I started looking into emotional intelligence and really getting into the bases, and realised that schools are only starting to tap into the industry of emotional intelligence. You start seeing it coming onto the curriculum now. It's amazing to see what's going to happen to fruition, what's going to happen in the next 5 years that I've already explored and seen. But then my sister actually said to me when I mentioned her about the toys, and she was like, she said real funny, like, she's, why don't you come up with a toy? You know what I mean? I'll never forget that. That was about 5 years ago.
Where is she?
Back home in Ireland.
Okay, yeah.
And she said, why don't you come up with a toy? I was like, all right, yeah, challenge accepted. But then it was the 2 years after that when I was doing the gratitude course, and it was actually a friend of ours, Julie Pepper. She's over in India at the minute, and Kenny Buck we were all doing the gratitude course. Mm-hmm. And then just on a post one day, Julie just said to Kenny, you're actually the gratitude bear. And bang, just dropped the mic. I was like, whoa, wonder if you could make a beer that speaks gratitude. And with the original concept of this big wasn't going to be, it was just going to, I was coming up with little small beers with 30 gratitudes in it. You just press it every day. You know, you have your little notepad in the counter that gives you a lovely spoken gratitude. I was thinking about the little bears, and just every morning you wake up, you press it, and the bear gives you a lovely gratitude for that morning. Because you know yourself, in the first 20 minutes you wake up in the morning, this is inaccurate, but the microcycles in your head run a lot quicker. So whatever you put in the first 20 minutes is supposedly determined the rest of your day.
Yep.
So that's why a lot of people are on like a good song first thing, or something that's going to give you that cheery, floaty buzz. And then you leave the house and then you're moving along. So I was trying to think of a little toy that we could do this for parents. It was originally going to be for adults. And then as I start developing, moving forward and putting more study into it, I started coming up with the concept of the gratitude bear himself with the help and ideas of others. And I kind of projected them all into the one. And this is how we came up with the gratitude bear.
And then here it is. Gratitude Bear is sitting on the table with us. This is the prototype that you've had made. He's in his box. He's a nice fluffy purple bear. And this is number one. Is this the only one that exists anywhere?
This is only one of these, because starting off you have to do an MVP, which is a minimal viable product. So the whole point of this is,
hang on, who do you have to do this for?
For myself, and kind of like it's like a business strategy.
Yep.
This is what you have to prove that your concept and vision works.
Yeah.
And then by doing this, it proved to me and the team, right, we're on the right track. We're doing it. Costs a lot, like between the business strategies at the first, all the roadmap we done, and to getting to this point, probably dropped over just about 120,000.
Man, who are all these people on your team? Like, looking at your website, I was just again blown away, because like, again, when I heard about this project, I was expecting to see either you as a one-man band, or I was expecting to see you and a bunch of blazers or people who you love to party with. But Kenny's not on there, right? And a whole bunch of other people that I know that are your mates, that are your brothers and sisters, the people that you love, are not on this team. And the people who are on this team look like weapons. Like you've got some. And by the way, in terms of looking like weapons as well, in preparation for this project, I was stalking you. This is my homework. I got to stalk you a little bit. And as I was stalking you, I was stalking your Facebook profile, and I found your picture that you use on Gratitude there as the CEO picture. That's a high school ball picture, isn't it?
Oh, it's a box. I used to be boxing for 10 years, so I've done a huge boxing event in New Zealand called Thriller and the Chiller. It was very hard to get into this fight. It was like 150 people went for it, and I got in, and it's the only time I've ever had a headshot of photography, and it was in when you
look great. You look great. It's a CEO picture. I was just
I don't look like that anymore anyway. I've been actually asked a few times to change it. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna leave it. It's grand, you know what I mean? That's how I feel I am, you know.
Anyway, so you look good in it, but everyone else in your team looks really good. Who are these people? Where'd you find them? How do they all come into your life, and what's everyone's stake, and how are you guys working together on this big project, and who's holding the vision, and what is the vision, and just go.
Well, first of all, you had myself starting off, and then I was blessed. I had another guy that started off with us. He was a commercialization strategist, and we kind of ran the course with him.
Where'd you get him?
I just found him online.
Oh yeah, you searched.
Just
Google commercialization strategist.
I actually found the guy that does prototyping development, and then when I pitched my idea to him, he says, "Your idea is amazing, but what you need to do is you need to take a step back and you need to set the foundations. Like, the main thing is, are you feasible? Are you viable? Are you investable?" And to get those 3 points, there's a kind of strategy roadmap that you have to follow. Like, you have to do a discovery package to see what you're about and what we need to collect to get to the next stage. The next stage was an IP commercialization package, and this was then stepping into feasible, viable, and investable. And then from that, we've done all the foundation work to get to like risk diagnostics, and really found out what is this feasible to do. And that was a big part. Like, you're going to put all this money, you're going to move forward into a project, but does anybody even want this in their life, you know? So you have to figure out all of these before you go dropping down big money on a business. So that was the hard part for me, the concept, because I was just like, I'm just a visionary, you know. I just believe in an idea that I have, and have to do all of this work. So it cost a lot of money to get to that point. Research, we done a survey across Australia, I think it was maybe 1,000 people. I'm going to say 500, so I'm not lying. And then what we do is we got feedback off them. I had to make 2 initial, what they called, like, small promotional videos, and this is what the parents and the kids watched these across the survey across Australia and gave us feedback, and the feedback came back like 99% positive. I think there was one person that said, why would you want this in your life? You know what I mean? I was like, okay, which that's the 80-20 rule, but lucky we got 99-1 rule, so we got 99% plus. So I was like, right, this is doable. And then from that, we were moving into the stage of, okay, you have to create a development team, you have to get lawyers involved, you have to get accountants involved, you have to get social experts involved, you have to get IP strategists involved. So a lot of these people, the faces that you see on the board, are all these people that really helped in. Now, the most money has gone into the development of the beer on the phase 1, which was average about 30,000-40,000. So with a team built over in India for that, it was coming out too expensive to do. Like, there was one quote I got was 90,000 to get it done in Australia. So we reached out to my guy Vivek that you'd see on it, absolute genius guy. He's owns a company called Startup IP. I found him through another guy, got talking to him, loved the idea. He loved the fact that we were using like with chakras and energy and superpowers. So from that, he based and started introducing me to people, and then off that, I start finding other people along the way myself. And there is a lot of other than the prototyping on the team, actually everybody else on the team works for free because they love the idea, they love the concept, that we're budget based, so they're helping me put the money in the right places in the right direction at the right time. So I'm very blessed to have everyone on them. I have a guy Brandon on the team. You've probably seen him. He designed the website. He's a 21-year-old prodigy in Mexico. So I was actually involved with him on a couple of crypto projects where I was kind of helping the guys raise money, and I got to meet him and really got to know him over the space of a year. And then I pitched my project to him, and he just said, look, can I help with your project? But he says, I don't want anything for it. I just want to be part of the Gratitude Bear name. I mean, if you want to look after me when it's famous and it's up there, please do.
Have you got a good mentor at the moment?
This is one thing I'm missing.
All right, I think I've got one for you.
Oh man,
I'm going to hook you up with a mentor after the show. Actually, I'll introduce him now just because I'm feeling the same big vision and big vibes that he had, that you're embodying and you're starting to embody now. And his name's Ryan Gerhardy. He moved over to America and he started a company called Pitchly. He was already in mergers and acquisition and big money thing for years and years, but always as an employee for someone else. But the guy's always just wanted to like build a giant company that was going to make it big. And he was just driven on this idea. It doesn't have the same, I guess, like, let's call it like a pure loving energy that a project like the Gratitude Bear, because he created a product that helps big businesses do some big things, whatever. Like, it's a bit dry and a bit boring, but his vision was huge, and it took him ages to get the ball rolling. And then now that his vision is that big, the guy's just unstoppable. Every time I talk to him on the phone, he's just like, oh yeah, I just got like an office in on like main road of New York, whatever the main road of New York is. And he's like, I'm going to Vegas this weekend, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and I'm going to sell the company for like $100 million. And he means it. Like, he's going to sell the company for $100 million. And he's like, and I'm going to come back to Australia, I'm going to change Australia. I was like, oh my gosh. So he's like, he's burst out of the stratosphere. I love talking to him. Anyway,
it's mad now, because just on the note you're saying, and please have, and this is the good thing about networking, that even what we're doing is networking right now. People are going to reach out, and if they feel like they have a place or part in the project, please touch base with us, find the socials, get in touch, have a look what we're about. I says we've based the socials on 3 main pillars. Is Monday's awareness, Wednesday is entertainment, Wednesday is gone blank now. Monday entertainment.
bit of pressure. While you're thinking, I'm just going to drop the socials for you. One of the big ones is thegratitudebear.com. That's easy enough, thegratitudebear.com. And then you can also find on Facebook, it's just called The Gratitude Bear as well.
Yep. 100%.
Instagram's the same one, The Gratitude Bear. Cool. So that's how we can find things. I'll also have all the show notes and links to everything that Aaron talks about on the Art on Fire podcast website. So I'll have links to all of his things as well. But it's easy enough, thegratitudebear.com. Check it out. It's a wicked website. Sorry, you were going to talk.
It has the links on everything that they need to find, so you don't have to go searching through the socials. It's all on the bottom link, hyperlinked onto it.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, cool. But you're going to teach us about Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, Monday was awareness. Wednesday's educational, and the educational part is what I love, because I started doing it myself. So we were putting up little articles. Me writing stuff about what is gratitude to children, what's resilience to children. But then as I start moving on, I start finding facilitators that I've been working with over the last year that have helped me, like Davey Rowe, Michael Henderson and Paul Holiday, as you talked already. And these guys, they're writing these little articles for me. So it's good to get them recognition every Wednesday as well. So I'm putting up an article with them on it and what they do, and then how their practice helps and believes in the early education of kids and development. And then Friday's entertainment, so family entertainment. So we've been doing that, them 3 pillars over the last 6 weeks, because we built a Facebook group on organic growth strategy. So I wanted to build it up with people that wanted to get involved rather than hounding people about it. And I says over the 6 weeks, my socials expert reckons that we've really hit the nail on the head with nearly 2,000 followers. And now the posts are starting to reach, like I put up a post yesterday, and I think it's pretty good anyway. It's like 92 shares got into it, and then we hit over 7,000 reaches. So we're getting the reach out there. I think there was one post that we hit over 10. Actually, my face pulls more posts than actually most of them with the bears. I'm in competition with the bear and the educational because. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say I did some marketing studies, and people love faces because we want to see faces. It's called Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. We want to see faces. We do want to see products and other things on there as well. But like if we can relate with a human on the other side,
it's more engaging,
and you've got a lovely face.
Thanks very much. But on the note that I love, even though I love the ones at my faces, I love the educational pieces that are being put up every Wednesday. And if people I know people are liking and sharing them, but I'm hoping people are actually sitting and reading them, because this is the platform. This is how we're going to move on. Like, we'll talk about the app later on. What I want to create with the app later on is all about this, about facilitators coming into the app or into the socials and really engaging with the clients or customers or whatever you want to call them, but just helping everyone on a bigger reach, you know, because you can have people putting up to say, someone's going to do a course down the road next week and it's going to cost $100 to do the course for the day, but you might reach out to 20 people. But where our platform, we want to really move into, we might be able to get 1,000 people globally through the Gratitude Bear name and bring them to the course online with webinars. And then, but you're getting charged a minimal charge, 50 cents to $1 to do these online courses that you'd pay normally $100 to do, but bulk people in on this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge, like, I know I went off in there, but there's so many things that we want to achieve moving forward this, and it's all about serving, giving back. And I just want to, I personally just always had it in me that I just want to help as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And through the bear, this is the direction we're going in. Now, we went off wind there. What were we on about?
Don't know. My mind was still a few steps back, and I was actually thinking about the toys that I had when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite Baby Born or the shovels, but it was on the same wavelength. I guess my toys just trained me to be a clever cookie. So I had this one electronic yellow toy that just had all the letters and numbers on it, and it just used to ask me puzzles, and I just used to have to solve puzzles all the time. And it'd be like, spell discover, and then I would press the letters in the correct order and be like, do this, and I'd give it the answer, and that was it. And then I also remember, like, my parents really wanted to set me up for success in life, and so the way that they did that was they just tried to get me to be intelligence, right? So Dad would like quiz me on the multiplication tables in the car. We'd just be driving somewhere, and I'd be like a little 7-year-old. He'd be like 6 times 5 and 4 times 8 and whatever, and I'd just be like rattling off these answers. And they put me in like touch typing training, and they put me in this intellectual thing and that intellectual thing, and computers were going to be big, so they made sure that I could do stuff in computers.
But that's all based around, you're right, and you can see in one of the main videos, it's in the first couple of sentences of the main video, the promotion video, and I was like, kids in nowadays society, all they get taught is ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. And that's what you're talking about exactly there. That's the moment that, like, if you know this, you're going to be successful, which is not the case anymore. You know what I mean? Because it is the case in certain avenues, but most of the time it's shown that it's scientifically proven that emotional intelligence, once it's brought in at an early age, it enhances IQ later on in life. But not only that, it brings in so much awareness, understanding, resilience, just emotional toys, self-love, confidence. If you can incorporate this from a kid, even before, because they're bringing it to schools now, but if you can do it in the early ages, from 0 to 4 mainly, I say, but people say 0 to 7, because you start your, what's it here, kindergarten, is it?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the lowest level, you go to that, and then as soon as you go into those schools, the majority of them start teaching, well, going back 5 years ago, they started teaching ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and they're not really touching on emotional intelligence and everything and what's going to happen in society later on for you, and how to adjust to situations that's going to happen. Like, my main example, and it's one of the stories that we wrote, is, unfortunately, years ago when I was a kid, you used to see a kid crying in the corner, or we're playing a game of football and the kid's just crying over the side. You never went and approached the kids. You look at him and go, oh, he's crying. Oh, quick, go over here. You know what I mean? And it's like you have other people then that bully them as well for crying. And this is all where now we want to adapt into the awareness of, oh, there's a kid crying. Let's see what he's crying about. Let's see what's up with him. And you go over and you ask your friend, and he goes, oh, I'm not allowed to play football because my legs are too small. And I said, but that make you quicker. And you give enhancing emotional intelligence to other kids and people around you. And if you can start doing this from an early age, could you imagine what, and like myself now, I've been learning this for the last 5-6 years myself, and now I can see so much. My eyes are open. I was imagine I had this when I was 6 years of age, you know.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that experience that you were saying that you had, like when you first started that gratitude challenge, the 28-day challenge, and then you said you got to, like, I don't know, day 14 or something, and a lot of emotions were starting to come up. What was going on there, and what did you start to realize at that point in time about this practice? And what's something that to anyone who's listening that you'd love to share about how this has enriched your life, or fill in blank?
Yeah, well, for me, first of all, it opened my eyes. But then the thing about it is when you take the blinders away and you open the eyes, is you get a flood of emotion. You get sad, there's shame, there's guilt, there's all this stuff that you know from when you were a kid, stuff you'd done, and then how you were treated as well, that you weren't really able to, you didn't have the tools to relate to them, you know what I mean? You didn't know what was going on, you know what I mean? You had fear, you had anger, you had all this, but you never be able to control it. But then all of a sudden, on this 14th or 15th day, I got hit with it all. I had this, as if this is a bag of emotions, it was full, you know? So I wished I had, like I keep saying, the tools years ago to deal with this. But because I dealt with them through that process and the personal development courses that I've done, I feel empty, but not empty emotionally. You know what I mean? I feel empty of all the crap. You know what I mean? All the shite is gone. You know what I mean? I feel really good. That's the best way to play it in layman's terms. But with the course and you move on, why gratitude, man? Just if you can be grateful for all the small things in life, the big things are going to come a lot easier to you. And that's fact. Like, I think, I don't even know if I robbed that motto from someone that I've seen on, like, Tony Robbins or something like that, but it's so true. Like, be grateful for the small things, the bigger things will come to you so easily, you know. Help as many people as you can and just enjoy society.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
How'd you get into the whole personal development scene in the first place? Like, where did that start for you?
About 5 years ago, so I'm 36 now, so when I was 30, came to Australia. I was after going through a breakup because I was with this amazing woman for 7 years. She was.
So you only arrived to Australia 5 or 6 years ago?
No, I'm here about 7 years now. 7 years.
But yeah, not long.
Yeah. Because,
cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. So I'd met you shortly after you arrived.
I think I'm away from Ireland 11 years now. So I was 3 years in New Zealand, and then whatever it is after that. So 8 years.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing. It's been some journey, like, you know. But yeah, so it's only early days still. But when I got here, as I said, I had just gone through a breakup, and I was with that guy for 7 years, and then it was all of a sudden, when you grow up with someone like that from when you're young, and you come up, and because I kind of, most of the stuff I'd done my whole life, I was on my own since I was 17, you know. There was a breakup in the family, my mum and dad separated, I stayed with my dad, the rest of the kids went with my mum, and then I was kind of, oh shit, I'm going to have to do this on my own. You know, not on my own, there was other complications that was happening behind the scenes, but I was like, right, you have to achieve this on your own. Then you become so strong and independent at 7 years of age, just trying to create a life for yourself. And then finally then my dad passed away, and then I says, right, I jumped ship probably about 2 months after that to go to New Zealand, and went with Leanne at the time. And I opened up my eyes up to the world that was ahead of us. And I was like, oh, shit, man, it's not all council houses and burnt out cars and drink and drugs and all that sort of stuff that was kind of apical to the life that we lived in, the estate that we lived in. All of a sudden, it was open up. It was like, no, I came up, I grew up in an amazing estate, amazing people around me. I was blessed to have the family that I had. But when you step out of that and you land in New Zealand and you're in you land on a glacier and you're walking up and down, you're doing bungee jumps and you're doing skydives, and, you know, you're doing snowboard and you're doing jet skiing, you're doing all of this, you're like, whoa, this is different. And then from that, then when I moved, it was a breakup, but she wanted to go home. She wanted to go home, start a family, and do all of that. And I was like, my eyes have been opened. I don't think I can go home yet. You know what I mean? Like I have a couple of years in me to explore and find out who I am. So she left. She went home, and then I went on a bit of a 3 or 4 year journey on myself. And then I found out then that a lot I've been doing was wrong since I was 17. I heard about this course that everyone was doing called Tim Morrison doing Return of the King. He's actually moved over East at the minute now, starting up over there. Absolute shout out to Tim Morrison anyway. He definitely was one of the male influencers to change my life. And then I've done this.
Is he an Australian guy?
Yeah. Yep. Amazing. An ex-Thai fighter that changed his life, broke his back, and he had a couple of injuries, and then he moved into that, realising, I think his main topic was he didn't know the man he was because he had all of this built up behind him. And I'd been boxing for 10 years as well, myself, on and off different fights, and had this real strict discipline, stern kind of structure about me, but I always had a kind heart. But then moving into this, I went and done his course, and it was a 8 to 10 week course, and it broke every pillar down on me, from the ego to everything, I suppose, gratitude, awareness, just it broke everything down, broke down on all these certain pillars, core limiting beliefs. And from that, then I actually stepped into the first version of the man I wanted to see myself being. And that was only stage. And then the problem was the course is over, and all of a sudden you're on your own. And then all bad habits and all the stuff start coming back in. You know what I mean? Like you're eating habits, your bad habits, you going out drinking, partying, doing all this. And then I said, right, Tim held a second course called first one was Invictus. So I jumped on board on that. But during that stage, then this is where I met Paul Holiday with the Human Excellence Project. That was about 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And then I started going down meeting all them guys, and it was just started off 10, 15 guys, women going for a swim, and it was just the chats afterwards with the coffees, and it was amazing. And then I start once again turning into the man I wanted to be. The true, I kept saying to myself, I want to become a better person. But then just up to the course I've done recently is I want to become a truer version of myself. So I've been building myself up over these years, and then through the great help of the likes of Paul Holiday's, the Tim Morrison's, all these gratitude courses and stuff, just clocking in when I could, because I was working in the mines for 5-6 years as well, so I was bouncing in and out with all that. Mining industry is very taxing on the body as well, and especially in the mine, it's very isolated. So I was growing as I was moving forward with all of these, and then just even up to recently, I just finished just after Christmas there, I'd done another retreat with Tim Morrison. That blew my mind. It was 5 days. So when you get Tim on a weekly basis for 3 or 4 hours, but then all of a sudden you have them for him and his partner, Sammy Davis, for 5 days, man, Jesus Lord, like I let 90% of the bullshit that was in my life, it was gone. You know
Does Tim know about this project?
Yeah. Actually, Tim was one of the first to back it the other day. He sent me a voicemail straight away, and my heart blew up, because I actually sent him a link for it, and he sent me a voicemail. He was like, Aaron, so there's 4 different tiers that you can back on the Kickstarter, and he went straight for the 350 one, and I was just, I'm getting goosebumps now. Like, I was so grateful for him, you know, and he's been there for a big part I've been through. Like, but then recently, I found another course, because I'd done Tim's already, called Authentic Men, and it's up in Wangara there. And or just off one road, I think it's Wangara. I'm brutal with directions. And these guys, it was a more homely approach to it, but it was more of a brotherhood that was getting formed straight away. And it was like, I think there was 20 something of us in the group at the start, and Davey Rowe and Brent and Dan Hancock. These boys have a fairly well structured roadmap for the 10 weeks on how to break you down, and then break you down the first 4 weeks, and then build you up the next 4 or 5. And then they do 2 courses in between it. And for that 10 weeks, man, it's at the, and then I'm at the roller coaster straight into last Tuesday and this Tuesday. You can repeat the course if you want. I says, lads, I jumped straight back in, and I was saying to myself, is this going to be any way beneficial to me now, of everything I've learned over the 5 years, stepping in now? And first day, and last night I was there till 10 o'clock last night. I swear I'd never done the course before. It just brings up more and more. I hate using the expression, because everyone uses like peeling the layers of an onion, but it is, man. You're breaking down, you know what I mean? It's getting to that core true self of who you are. And now I'm on a good path. I believe I am becoming the truer version of myself, and everything that I've learned and done is kind of getting pushed into this. And because I've done all of this work, I know, and like you said, who's the team that's on me on the website? It's because of them guys, you know what I mean? Especially one girl called Ush Danik. She's one of the leading EQ experts in Australia. I found an article she wrote, reached out to her, never heard anything back. And then I said, I'm going to try again. I found her on LinkedIn, and I found out the email I'd sent her was an old email address from a different business that she was on and never got passed on. She rang me within, I reckon, 20 minutes of me sending her the LinkedIn. She looked at, love your project, loved everything you're about, loved it. And she's been working for me for free for the last year. She's helped me, because there's one thing writing a book for children, but if she certifies that, she gives it a stamp of approval. She makes sure that it's allocated, everything's going in the right direction. We actually probably spitballed that whole first book in probably 2 hours. With the ideas and the bullet points I had, we spitballed it, gave it to an author that was involved with us. That's Ria from New Zealand, and we found her on Upwork. And then from that, she's just been, man, she'd been doing stuff on a budget for us. Like I think writing that whole book for us, she'd done it for a couple of $100, like, you know what I mean? She's been doing the voiceovers for the Bears, which the original voiceovers for the Bears was done by Ush's daughter. That's actually her voice that's on this bear, and it's the original advertisement post that we don't have. So I've been borrowing and stealing off everybody to just get, you know what I mean? It's just
people have been gifting, man. Come on,
gifted, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. But so the process has been, that's the emotional side of the process to get where I am now on all of this. But then if you want to talk about the business process getting here, that's been a huge learning curve. Like what you think you want, like, it's one thing having a vision on a concept. And even my missus to say to me now, like, she'd be sitting there looking at it and she's like, wow, she wants to start her own business herself now. And I think she's looking and goes, geez, do you have to do all of this? You know, like, just just starting off, making sure you're doing the right thing and you're going the right place. Like even getting at a full lawyer team there for about 3 months working on it. You know what I mean? Writing up contracts, writing up subscriptions to so many other things. We've done a shared agreement. Then I gave away 10% of the business a year ago. Oh no, it wouldn't be far off a year now. Raised 100,000 in 48 hours and gave away 10% equity of the business. And then you have to do what's it called?
Where did that first 100,000 come from?
From a share split that I done. So I advertised to a lot of mates that were close to me that were interested, and a lot of people, and it's a true statement, a lot of people don't invest in a business at the start, they invest in the person. So a lot of people are investing in the enthusiasm I had about the beer, and I was talking to everyone about it for a good solid year, and then I hit up all the people that were close to me, and then I start getting, I think 18 people gave me 100 grand. So I worked it over, and then I used that then, and that's been used then to float the business from easy the last 7 or 8 months. So with them backings, we're after getting down to, we were down to 60 grand of the money, which was really good because I spent none of it. But now all of a sudden, the next prototype, phase 2 of the beer, straight off bill of 50,000.
Let's park business for a second. Happy to return back to business. It sounds like there's a lot that's on your mind there, and you've learnt a lot as well. Let's play vision. So you know, I've heard in prep for this that you really do want this to be a global project. You're wanting this to be a present that kids are going to have for all over the world. They're going to be getting this bear all over the world, and it's going to be a part of kids' lives in a really big way. This is going to be the bear that many kids will remember when they look back onto their young lives. At least that's what I'm hearing. I've stolen some of your words, and I've stolen some of the words of your friends. But yeah, tell me about like where you want to take this. How do people get this? Is this going to be in Toys R Us? Is this going to be in Walmart? Like what's its vision? Are you going to be on an Oprah, whoever Oprah is today? Is that an Oprah today?
Ellen, is it? Ellen DeGeneres or something?
Yeah, you're going to be on Ellen DeGeneres' show with the Gratitude Bear, and everybody gets a bear, right? Where is it?
Well, there's a thing that you have to do at the start, and it's called a BHAG, and it's your big, hairy, audacious goal. And for me, that was to get this into as many homes as possible around the globe. And people are saying, well, why do you want to do that?
Have you put down a number?
If I want to sell?
Yeah.
No. Well, I have, actually. So we have a goal that if we can in the 4th year hit a marker of 1 million bears.
1 million bears.
Yeah, 1 million bears.
And this is the first year now?
Yeah, no, but we're not going to go to proper market September, October on the business launch. So
September, October this year, 2022, September, October is when you're launching.
Launching the main business, but I'll tell you about the pre-launch and everything that we're in now to get us to where that's the business talk.
Okay, cool.
So where we're with the bear is my whole moment is right. It says if we can get my target customer is children between the ages of 0 to 4 because they're the ones that are going to want the bear. They're going to be in the shops. They're going to scream. Even up to the age of 7, there's still going to be some kids want it. But my target market is parents with children of 0 to 4. So the best trick about this beer is there's a great selling point on it. The kids go in and love it. The kids are all about sensories from the first 1 to 4. It's all about sensors. So they're going to love the feel of the beer. You have the lights, you have the colour, you have the audible coming out of the beer. We're actually making the next prototype with a squeezable, like rubber contact insert, like a stress ball. So kids can squeeze it, keep the force. So we're bringing different. With the book then, as I said, on the left-hand side, I'll show you here, there's the gratitude. So each gratitude is a characteristic of the superpower. And then from the superpower, then once you press the button.
For anyone who hasn't seen this, if you don't mind, let me just press pause and describe it. So prototype of Gratitude Bear has little symbols all the way across his bodies, roughly where each one of the chakras is, if people know where chakras are. There was seven symbols on there.
Yep. And
so the bear itself, the physical bear, has these like little symbols running across from the top of his head to to his bum in a straight line. And then Aaron's just opened up the accompanying book which comes with the bear. And here we are on one of the pages, and so yeah, one of the superpowers of your mind is gratitude and its connection, and there's a symbol there, and that symbol what correlates with one of the symbols on here.
Yeah, so this is all going to be based. So I'll give you a bit of a backstory. So in the survey that we done, there was one thing that came up and this is why we had to, originally we were saying chakras, but we changed it from chakras to superpowers.
Superpowers.
So everything's to superpower. And now we're actually going to remove on the next prototype, we're actually remove the symbols, but keep the colours in the same energy points. Because unfortunately it was starting a tight bit of a religious battle because people were relating chakras and energy to
Yeah,
religion.
People have got some chips on their shoulder about anything religious these days. Like, but calling them superpowers, that's pretty cool. So the superpower of connection, gratitude.
Superpower of the mind, yeah. So this is going to be sort of the first one says here, I'm so grateful to have my friends, family and community in my life as they will make me feel loved every day, which is quite a cute lesson early on. People are saying it's a bit forward, but like, why not be straightforward with kids? You know what I mean? If you have this gratitude for these things, this is what's going to happen. The best thing about it is, and this is when my target market comes in. I'm not going to read this story, but it's a full emotional intelligence story built in with certain IQ factors. But this is all based on different techniques and practices based on emotional intelligence. So now all of a sudden you have the parent now that has to read that story to their child. So what's the catch is with it is the parent starts learning as they're trying to teach the kids. And then the whole point is where I want to go with this. I want to start abolishing the unknown of gratitude and emotional intelligence through that age gap. So if you have, let's average out, if you have a 21 or 22-year-old mother that has a child, say just born, and you're potentially saying that over the 20 years by the time that child, if they have a child when they're 21, 22, in Ireland, that's quite common ages. You have that, and then all of a sudden they have grown up with that. So now all of a sudden, hopefully over 20 years, you've abolished the unknown of gratitude and awareness towards emotional intelligence. So that's just my BHAG moment of that's what I really want to focus on, getting people aware of emotional intelligence.
Your BHAG is your big, huge, audacious goal.
Big, hairy, audacious goal.
Big, hairy, audacious goals.
I don't know why it's called that, but that's a business term. Yeah. Apparently it is.
It's a business term in your books, and it works. It sounds great.
So where we're going, like in the first year is, so really,
1 million bears.
Huh?
1 million bears.
Well, that's so from the first year onwards. So 4 to 2 years. If we can get up to, so the scalability of a business is doubling every year. So if we can get up to, say, 500,000 in the first year, following year you get up to, say, 100,000, which are 500 million, and then jumping off that, then you can go to 2-3 million after the 3 years to 5 years. So really, I'm giving myself that balance from the 4 to 3 years to get hopefully 1 million bears sold around the world globally. But
and where are people going to buy these? So I've got nieces. Where do I get one?
Right, well, starting off because we're really reaching out to family, friend, and community. We've done an FFC fundraise through crowdfunding through Kickstarter. And Kickstarter is an amazing platform that kind of allows entrepreneurs to do a startup. So once you have the prototype done, you're allowed advertising. It's a bit of a protocol to get to a review stage. And once you get to review, I got the review done, and they just snapped their fingers. They were happy enough for us to come on. Then what we do is you give a certain tier, you give rewards. So instead of just asking like a GoFund, say, oh, please give me money for the company. What this is, you get tier breakdowns. So one of the tiers is you get a bear and a book, and I think it works out $150. Now, a few people said that's quite expensive, but what you're doing is you're actually helping us with the business. On the scalability of the business, probably going to take us about $70, $80 to build a bear, because remember, we're on the building maybe 100 first. So there's a scalability that's quite expensive. If you start going into 10, 20,000, we can drop it to $50, and then we can drop the price eventually. But with the tiers that we have, we're trying to recognize the people that they're not only helping with the business, like giving us money for us, they're going to help us go straight into the manufacturing stage, go into production, but they're also going to help us with the design and development. You're going to come up with loads of different problems and bugs. So this is going to give us time to help develop it perfectly with the extra funding we get off them. But the good thing about Kickstarter is it gives you huge traction as well. So with the traction that you get from Kickstarter, so if we fulfill we put up a $20,000 goal that we want to hit. So if we fulfill that, I think we're on 10,000 over 24 hours. So if we fulfill that, then we now have the traction to go to the businesses. So we've reached out to other, I'm not going to mention the names, other high-end businesses that are different companies that have reached out. Says he's interested in having a look and sponsor and invest in his bear. They're like, you're too early into it. You know what I mean? Show us some traction. Show us where you're going to go with this. Do people want this? You know? So I was like, all right, sound. So with the Kickstarter, hopefully we build up enough traction, make enough funding off it to keep us floating for a few more months, pay off the smaller people that we need to keep involved, and then we still have the volunteers that are in it. And then with them moving forward, we'll be able to hit up the bigger companies, say, hey guys, not only do we have, which also I haven't mentioned yet, we have 7 cartoons. So we've created a cartoon for each one of them. It's about 2.5 minutes long, so now kids are getting the visual. So you can now sit your kid down and you can watch 7 episodes of the Gratitude Bears, and it's not interfered with today's social media, if I'm allowed to say that. You know what I mean? Like, you know how, like there's a couple of cartoons out there, and they're really good cartoons, but I think what he say is the framework on them is so quick, it enhances the endorphins of kids and actually makes them quite hyper. You know, so with that was one thing we had to face when we were making this, the frame to frame, quite slow, quite energetic, quite colourful, quite fun.
Yep,
so
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark. You know yourself.
Yeah, Baby Shark. They've got the kids addicted.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's more than that as well. Like, but yeah, that's
Yep.
one of the. I don't want to name drop, like, but that's what I do. But what I've done is I've learned about all these things and how we can do it in a way that we can bring it like hypersensitive to kids. You know what I mean? Like, really, they can sit and watch something and learn from it rather than being buzzing after it, running around the place. You know. But moving on with the Kickstarter, so with the 7 cartoons, we're going to be releasing them on YouTube this week. Try and start getting the following off YouTube, bring some traction to the company. We'll have so many bears sold, manufactured, ready to go. And then with all these different traction points, September, October, hopefully we're in the race to get straight in there before the Christmas market. And we'll have the backing and sponsors off all these other companies by showing them. So I think we have the month for the campaign, and then I think the DFM of phase 2 bear is going to take another 8 weeks after that, because we have to use some of that funding to keep it going. But we're right in now of remodeling the electronics and development. So the way we've actually done this with a pen and the book and the tags, this was an MVP. We've come up with a different version. So that's a point of failure, having a pen like that. Sorry, it's all wrapped up, but that was actually because as I said, the customs ripped the batteries and the guts out of it, so I had to do a bit of soldering and get it going. But we're going to lose the pen, the interactive pen. So now we're going to have a book that just off the side here has a bit of tech on the side of it, but we're going to have these new, if I can say it right, PLC touch buttons that's as thin as a currency, like a $50 note. They're going to slot on the page, and we're going to have these active buttons. So it kind of creates a 3D kind of, not 3D vision, but 3D action for kids to actually press and feel the button pressing. You know what I mean? That's another sensory for kids.
Yeah.
And then once now we press off the way the tag is there, we're going to press that, and then the bear's going to light up automatically and speak. So we're after getting rid of the pen. We're in discussions and research development of that now, but if the guys come back with a good, it's kind of like a schematic and a visual working prototype on computer through ECAD or something, whatever they use.
Yep.
Once we can get that going, we're going straight into the factory of that. So there's loads of developments happening on the new version, which is whoever. So with the Kickstarter, if you donate to a certain tier on the Kickstarter to what reward you want. So like I said, one reward's $150. You donate to that, and then thereafter actually helping us with the company, helping to build the traction, and then they get rewarded with the first off the line bear when it's done.
Yep.
So hopefully before it goes to market, September, October, we'll be able to issue out 100, 200, 300, 500 bears, whatever way it works with the company movement, wherever way the Kickstarter lands. So say we have another 28 days on the Kickstarter. So fingers crossed. The more people we get in and the more money we get in, the more traction we can build, and the bigger the company can grow.
Yep. Have you worked out how big a million bears is? How many sea containers is a million bears?
Oh, I don't know. I don't. But honestly, I should look at it in that way. But
that's just my mind going that way straight over. It's being like, how big is a million bears? How much room do we need for a million bears?
Think about it. Wait, you might have 1 million homes that you're changing their life.
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm loving the idea.
The fuel, the packaging, the
economic. Fucking engineering part of me just keeps coming out. Just being like, let's talk about things. Yeah, no. I just like the idea of just like seeing a million bears come through. My now that I'm on sea containers and getting things, my dad wanted to, and he did bring through electric scooters when I was a kid. He loves business ideas like that, and yeah, he saw electric scooters coming up, and he was like, "Oh, this is going to be a great thing, right? Like this is going to be huge." And he's right. He was just 20 years early, because like they're only starting up now. But we imported a couple of sea containers worth of electric scooters, and having the sea container of electric scooters arrive on the front yard of our suburban house was like just the biggest, most joyful trip ever. As a teenager, to have access to a whole container of scooters, and then all my friends would come around, and we'd all just get scooters and just fang around the neighborhood. This is 20 years ago, man. Like he was way ahead. Yeah. Now they're absolutely everywhere.
Just that West Coast Highway, all the orange ones just everywhere now.
Every city's just got inundated. I still love them, and I'm still riding those things around. I ride a electric skateboard. I ride an electric skateboard called a One Wheel. We talked about this briefly on the phone. The One Wheel was launched on Kickstarter as well. Yeah, awesome. They really make their big thing there, and yeah, it's beautiful with projects on things like Kickstarter. Is those people who do align with the vision early are just so excited to be a part of it, right? They're just like so excited to be like, here's someone who's actually doing something different. It's cool. I want to support it. And it's such a great way for that connection to happen. Because short of that, your only other option in the past would have been to go and look for like some rich venture capitalist millionaire person and, you know, pitch your idea in like a Shark Tank or whatever it is. So it's the same thing, but now the sharks are your friends. People who love what you're doing.
But even when you say that, like, even if I might have to still go down that route, you know what I mean? Like, but now once again I have the traction of Kickstarter. So you can turn around and say I fulfilled the requirement of the $20,000 and that can be make after that as a bonus. But it's a great. I don't know the.
I guess you can also go to an investor and you can be like, look, I've sold thousands of bears, right? And I've got this social media following. I have this many people who love the things that I'm doing, and
and just what you just said there a minute ago, like you, like, but we have the likes of, you have Kmart, you have Big W, you have all the different toy stores. Like Hasbro, that's the dream. If Hasbro, but I'm very fortunate enough that through a men's cut, through a one, what was it called? No, what, not Unified. There was another 1 day course that we had done, ice baths, all that, deep ocean, deeps, conversations. It was amazing. But as the facilitator that was holding it, Dave Rowe again, he asked me something and he was talking about procrastinators and visionaries. And I said to him, oh, well, I'm a visionary. I'm not really much of a procrastinator, but the guy beside me was a procrastinator. And he says to me, okay, so do you have a plan that works? You know what I mean? I goes, I can come up with one. And then he says, well, I'll give you 5 minutes. So I sat there for 5 minutes, sketched out a couple of words, this, that, and the other. And to the button, he went, right, Erin, you ready? So I kind of didn't stand up, but I kind of made it present, told the guys everything that I'd kind of done in a quick 1 minute spiel. And then the words that came back to me was, so this is your plan to success. So this is where the ego dropped in. And I went, no. It's not a plan to success because I haven't succeeded yet, but this is a plan I believe that's getting me where I am. But a man said the word to me again, so this is your plan to succeed. And I was like, no, I haven't succeeded. So everyone was kind of laughing at me. And then another guy popped in, he just started asking me questions. And then another guy asked me questions, and another guy. And then it was great because we had this 50 people in there hit me with questions on a Q&A. But it was good that I was able to answer every single one of them accurately and effectively. That really helped that person, that what they needed to know. And at the end, then everyone gave me a big clap. And I was like, whoa, I'm pink. But as I was sitting there, this guy turned around, Stephen Dale, and he says, are you developing a toy? I says, yeah. He goes, I was a toy designer for Hasbro. And he went out, like, he does his own different things after that, you know what I mean? But he's officially a toy designer as well. So then met up with him after, got talking to him, pitched my idea to him, absolutely loves it. And now I have him on my development team.
Yeah, cool.
Comes in every week, just pops in every week, just sits and listens. So like what he said to me, if you can build a team, I'll sit there, I'll watch, I'll give my advice on the best thing, like different factors that Bear should have that through his experience. And he says, if we get this DFM done, the second one, I'll reach out to me guys. But he wants to have a fully functional team, development team, that works in a good flow. So he's been in every week. When we had a meeting today for 2 hours, like, and he pops in, says a few bits, and it's on a Zoom call. Oh, it's actually my team's call, I think it is. And then, but like that, this is how I'm finding these random people. So it was crazy that I was projecting that Hasbro was one of the biggest toy manufacturers in the world. Like, if most toys, I don't know if true it is, the most toy that come to fruition go through Hasbro. So this guy works with them, he has the connections, all that. So I'm going to keep fingers crossed that if we do a good team of this, he can latch into one of his network on Hasbro or something like that, and maybe get me a chat or a pitch deck with them and get in and spill. And if it goes to that, we're getting 1 million bears in a year.
Yeah. The last kids thing that I appreciated was Bluey. Have you watched much of Bluey?
That's the big bear, is it?
You haven't watched Bluey?
No.
Oh, you'd love him. Man, I can't believe your homework. You haven't seen Bluey. Bluey is beautiful, man. Bluey is the cartoon show that because when he popped in my head when you were talking about the book that you've got that accompanies Gratitude Bear, where the book is subtly designed to teach teach kids this idea of gratitude and cultivating gratitude and their superpowers in their emotions, but also that in the process of a parent reading the story to the child, the parent is learning things as well. And man, Bluey is for grown-ups. Like it teaches, I think it teaches play. It teaches adults in particular how important play is, and how important having fun is to kids, and like some guidelines for how to be a good parent are essentially the main tip that I've seen from Bluey is just like, if your kid wants to play, you just drop everything. Like, you just always drop everything and play. And they're energetic, and that's It's going to be tough, but that's what parenting is. And then you just play till your kids are done playing, and they'll be done. And then when they're done, you can go on and continue on with your life. But it's just like, be there for them for play. That's what they want. Like they don't care anywhere near as much about everything else. Like they just want playtime, and they learn fast in play. Like, my goodness, like if you play with kids, life is like a trip. It's like ridiculously psychedelic. The game changes every 5 seconds. You have to be like so on edge. You have to be like quick, responsive, fun. You have to be creative, original, because everything's changing on you all the time. And then that person's breaking the rules, and that one's cheating, and then the game just changes, and you have to like invent another level of rules in an instant. It's amazing what they can do. But Bluey's the one that popped into my head for someone who's on the right track. But yeah, I was just talking about.
No, I have to look at it because it's quite funny because any kids that I have in my life, look, I'm actually surrounded, like, I don't want to mention, but when you see everyone's having COVID babies because the last 2 years through isolations, everyone's having babies, and it's getting to the stage that most of my mates are getting onto their second babies. But you remember Roisin, good friend, it's like my sister. She just had a baby there. I think it's 10 weeks old. I got asked to be godson, the biggest privilege of being asked in a long time, and I'm blessed. But look, I was over minding them there last week. Well, she had a couple of clients in. Her partner walks up the mines, and the first time I got to mind him, he just slept. So I was like, grand, this is easy, you know what I mean? But the second time I mind him there, he slept for 15 minutes in like 7 hours. I was entertaining for the full time of that, but it's just great to see this 10-week-old, and like the emotion is so empty on his face, like he doesn't know, but then as soon as you smile, he smiles. And you can see it lift up, and you can see his eyebrows move in, and then you frown, and he starts frowning back to you. And it's just amazing to see that, something in a child that young. And this is where a big part of this beard is going to help with, especially in society today. And once again, everybody's been kind of wearing masks for the last 2 years, So kids are developing emotionally outdoors, even though looking at people with no emotions on their face. It's only when they're back in their own house and they're seeing the smile and the graph. And I really just reflecting on it last week. It was like, how are the kids in society, how are they going to grow up missing that? Young kids in the first year or two of their life with their outside in the shopping centre.
Yeah. These are the much older versions of the kids, but I share these worries about kids. I don't know if they're justified worries or not, but like I just keep thinking about what the kids are going to go through in terms of like crack addiction to their iPhones from the moment that they're born. Heaps of like social issues, parents who are fucking mental, a whole bunch of things going on in the world that's just like scary and weird and confusing, and I don't know, like I feel really awfully for them sometimes, and I'm worried. This is the older kids, so they're still kids. These are now the 17, 18-year-old kids. I was just at a music festival a couple of weekends ago, one of the commercial ones, Out of the Woods, and I was delighted. They're not the kids that gratitude bears for, but I was so delighted to see that this generation of kids who are coming up on TikTok are actually really beautiful. Like they love to have fun. They want to dance. They're so cute and daggy. It's wonderful. Yeah. Like there's some tough guy attitude going on and some, cool bitch girl thing going on, but like nothing compared to like, I think my generation of kids when we were that age. And I was really happy to see that. I was like, oh, this mob's made it at least. Like, they're still a bit weird in their own different ways, but for the most part, they were beautiful.
Who wasn't weird at that age? And anyway,
yeah, you gotta be, man.
What's like, weird now?
You're a little like a hormone dopamine drug factory, like in your body from that age. Like everyone around you is mental. You're in a prison, essentially being raised in school where you're just getting fucking education like force fed down your throat, and you've got all these like pressures and stresses, and everyone's nuts, like everybody's nuts, and you're just like this kid who's starting to realize it for the kind of not even beginning barely to just get a grasp at how crazy everyone is.
But just the point that you made at the start of that, and I loved it about you were saying like how kids, the endorphins, apps, phones, iPhones, all of this, and this is what you mean. But this is the problem now. It's happening for this generation of kids as well, and that's where I totally agree with you.
Oh man, yeah.
It's like you see parents now with kids 2 years of age. It has the centuries about him. He's walking, he's running around, and the kid's crying. So what do? They hand them the tablet. You know what I mean? Years ago, we used to be able to tell you or the radio on. Now the kids are sitting there with this tablet straight to their face. And this is why I created this book where it is, because now the parents, even though the amount of parents that don't really read to their kids anymore. And this is a survey that we done, and you were talking like 2 or 3 out of 10 was reading to their kids, and they're like, oh, where I have mates now, and it's coming up that like we have parents that are reading to the bump. Look, when they're pregnant and they're putting knowledge into the bump already by the sound and the tone.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
My girlfriend and I read to each other.
Yeah, that's magical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's because what we were brought up to do, to read. You know what I mean? If you want to learn something, you read it. You know what I mean? We didn't have Google, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have all of that. You know, you had MTV on every Saturday that you listen to music. You know what I mean? But with the book now is it's bringing the connection back to parents with the emotion and the story. So you have to sit now and actually interconnect with the kid again. Now, I'm kind of a bit controversial in what I'm saying to myself because we are bringing out an app. But the app that we're going to bring out is we're designing it as very child friendly, but it's a lot more for the adults and the help that we're going to try and create around. You have like Headspace, you Brighter Tomorrows, you have Insight Timer, you have Calm, you have all these different apps that have a certain membership charge that people pay for on a yearly basis. I'm trying to be proud, I'm going to try and attack that pricing list to try and get it as small as possible because I'm backing it on a bear. You know what I mean? So what I do is if you have a bear, you get a subscription for $1 a month. And we're hoping to create what I'm trying, like what I mentioned earlier on, I'm trying to get as many facilitators from around the globe, get them free onto the app. All they have to do is every week or every 2 weeks, put updates on whatever their organization is. So whether it's going to be someone wants to do meditation, someone wants to do breath work, someone wants to do baby yoga, someone wants to do yoga, someone wants to just preach, you know. But then the parents, if when you're on this, if they want to go and do online courses now, they're getting them from a minimum fraction of what it is out in the street. They go and do a course for $100, they can get it in bulk order and charge 50 cents to $1 for it. So I'm trying to accommodate for as many people as possible to learn and grow. Then also on the app we're going to look at a gratitude bear game. So we're looking at kids that are playing all these. I always go back to Angry Birds. You know what I mean? We all played it. I remember years ago, but I don't know what the kids are playing now on the phones. You know, but I've seen my mate and her 4-year-old daughter was playing a game and she was chopping the head off a vampire and running around and so she was like, oh, there's blood everywhere. She goes, man, look, there's blood everywhere. And I was like, oh Jesus, she's only 4, like, you know. But that's just, if the society wants their kids to have that, that's different. But I'm going to create this game where the gratitude game is all based on emotional intelligence and IQ. So there's little puzzles, little games, there's little activities, techniques and practices the kids have to do in it, and they're just going to enhance from it. And then there's we're going to do chat room. We're going to try and create a chat room for mainly for mothers and fathers that are having problems and issues with their kids, like especially around their emotional intelligence development, what happened to them. And most people won't leave the house for help. You know, they won't. Some people go to the doctors and they get a little bit embarrassed, or especially when you have disabilities around their own children. Some people are they're not as fronting to ask for help. So I'm hoping that I can create a chat room on the app as well, which will have to be linked with a Facebook or a different social platform that you can reach out to people on that. So say like, I'm having trouble with my kid and he won't stop crying, he might be colic. And I'm sitting there, she's right, the mother's getting quite frustrated and angry and she can't control it because she's never been taught how to do it. So she can go onto the Gratitude Bear app, go onto the chat room and say, hey guys, I'm having an issue, my kid has colic and I'm about to lose the beans here, you know. So then you have people from around the world that can, she can reach out, someone in America can reach out to her straight away, and then they can create a little connection between them as our private messenger. So say, okay, I had this issue, what you need to do is you need to go outside, sit for 5 minutes, let your kid cry, have them for 5 minutes, take a few breaths, and I guarantee when you go in after 5 minutes, you're feeling better. That's just one example. So I'm trying to, through the app, organise all these different issues and problems that I see just in a circle, you know what I mean, and just put them all into the one fruition in one app and try and help as many people as possible for as little as possible. Mm-hmm. So that's a big one that we're looking at now, but we're building the basic version of the app. We're just going to do an Android one first. Mm-hmm. Get some traction on it, see what people feel about it, get surveys in and get built up. This is going to be 2-3 year project on this, but I'm coming after all the big ones.
But taking it to the more back to the foundation, to the most basic level. Again, we talked about the toys that, you know, I had when I was a kid, which was just teaching me how to spell and do multiplications and teaching me all these like practical things in life to set me up to be able to know how to use a computer and a calculator, life skills. And then but Gratitude Bear is on IQ, EQ, WeQ, and it's wanting to cultivate this ability for people to be able to practice the feeling of gratitude. And that's the most foundational thing, right?
Well, I'm using the name Gratitude Bear based on gratitudes on the left, but I'm using it as an introduction into emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. So as the most, like it says in the stories, there's practice and techniques that parents can use. Like there is, like an example, a little kid runs into you and say, Mammy, I'm angry. And instead of a parent asking a child that's 3 or 4, like, why are you angry? they're only getting to grips with their emotions. What it is, you should ask the question is, where are you angry? And then the kid might go, oh, and they put it on their belly. And as a parent, you'd be looking and go, well, you shouldn't feel angry there. What's up? And he's go, oh, you have a sore tummy, you have this. So like people don't know how to approach the right situations in like around emotions. So we're trying to teach as many different practices and techniques, but we're basing it on the practice of gratitude to be grateful for stuff, but teaching emotional intelligence through it.
What do you reckon? Let's imagine that every child in the world gets Gratitude Bear this Christmas, and every child in the world for the next 8 years they cultivate this, and then they spend some time in this. Let's go to extremes. Where's the world going to be?
Hopefully in a more balanced place. You know, like just kind of a bit more aware, a bit more understanding, resilience. You know, like all these main basic emotional intelligence pillars. That this is what we're trying to teach, is just to be understanding. I really hope it is. You know what I mean? People don't understand why things are happening and why this stuff is going on with their own relationship with themselves and others. Just simple factors, you know what I mean? Simple things that we should have, basics. Well, I call them basics now, you know, but simple things you look, I can look at Joe and go, oh, Joe's sad. Why is Joe sad? I'm not asking Joe why he's sad, you know, but now I can go, Joe, why are you sad? And you're going like, oh, thanks for asking. This is why I'm sad, and you have a conversation. Just simple, basic things like that. That's gonna just help people on a daily basis. Yeah,
I don't have kids at the moment. I'm planning for it actually, but anyway, I don't have kids at the moment, and I'm curious if your research has, or what your opinion is on what are some of the worst things that are affecting kids. I'm a person who has some serious doubts over anything to do with the medical industry, and I'm very concerned about prescribing kids for anything at all. And I see that as a kind of solution at the moment for lots of things, and it's been going that way, I perceive, for a while, and I feel like they're misdiagnoses, or that there's probably better ways to do things than to legally drug children. What's your research understanding, feeling on the problems that kids are facing these days and the current accepted solutions? Do you talk? Do you get to spend much time in like mothers groups and stuff like that? Do you hear how they're being trained and what their level of education is?
In the way the curriculum, in a way. But the one thing that comes straight to mind is, and I'm sorry to all the mothers and fathers for saying this, but it's genetics. You know what I mean? It's go back to, I can't use my, like, especially with, I can't say anyone's names here, but like when I do all these personal development groups, like you hear, it's a known factor. Like, think about your great granddad, how you know, like you can see in the kids now, like how strict they were. You know what I mean? How bad they were. And then when I go to like your granddad, how strict it was then, and it was just passed down through generations. But as I keep saying, they only knew what they were doing as they came along. So now you have parents now, or you have people now having kids. Like say myself, if I had done all the work on myself, I would have taught the way that I was brought up and the way the thing was, getting smacked, getting hit, getting told you're bold, all of these things. I would just continue that on. So I think they should, and I know they do parenting groups, you know, for young pregnant, any pregnant, you know, like if they're pregnant and the partner goes and they go and, I think they go and do class. I haven't had a child myself, I don't know, but I'm just listening to friends of mine, and you go and you do parenting courses. But a big part about parenting courses, I teach them a lot about IQ, you know what I mean, how to be this way and that way, but you need to be emotionally intelligent, ready to have kids, and you need to be able to pass that beautiful information onto your child, how to grow forward, move forward. And unfortunately, if you don't have, as parents, have the tools, you're only going to use what you learned from your parents, and you're going to continue it on. So genetics probably is the first one for me that I think all parents, and this is where a lot of the foundation book comes in, is teaching parents different ways of being able to adjust to the antics and the behaviours of their child, especially when kids goes into a trauma state. If a kid goes into a trauma state, let them have a trauma state. You know what I mean? Could be 2-year-old sitting there kicking and screaming for 10 minutes. Let them. But that's them trying to get rid of what they want, whatever's going on with them at the moment, that emotion. Then you'll notice that after 10, 15 minutes, even a half an hour, the kid will just stand up and walk away. let them have the emotion. You know what I mean? Where other kids, parents will go over and they'll say to them, "Oh, come here, it's okay," you know, hold them to it, and all. Be present for your kid when he's in the trauma. I'm saying, don't leave him alone, but don't tell them it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, don't tell them that you don't need to, if there's an issue in the family, you know what I mean, and the kid is crying, say, "Oh, it's okay, don't worry, suppress your feelings." You know, you're really telling them to suppress his feelings. You know what I mean? Let the kid feel his emotions. Say, what's going on with you? And they're like, "Oh, I don't like when mommy and daddy fights," or someone's at the hitting me out on the road. Let your kid feel their emotions and their feelings, and that alone is going to be a great practice for them moving forward, and you're breaking that chain compared to we were told as kids, shut up. You know what I mean? What was the expression I heard the other day? When you're crying, he says, "I'll give you something to cry about." I'm a kid sitting here crying, you're about to get a clatter for crying, you know what I mean? And that's just putting blocks and emotional blocks in you, trauma, and you're trying to get rid of all that emotion later on. So that's the big problem. It starts at home, But going on to the theory of what yours is, huge is, I think social media is a big one. Cyberbullying, all this sort of stuff, people being Billy Big Balls on the internet, you know what I mean? Someone in school, they come in, "Oh, did you see Bob's trousers today?" And then everyone jumps on because the funny guy in the class says something and everyone bum. But Bob's sitting at home there thinking his trousers are great, and then he won't wear them trousers the next day, So that's a big, I think cyberbullying, if that's the word I'm really putting out there, it's society hiding behind screens and attacking people, you know what I mean? But when you see them people face to face, you know what I mean, they're not, the person that's actually probably bullying the other kid is probably going through a load of stuff at home. And that's how his parents are reacting to him about stuff, and then he's reacting onto them. Where Bob is at home and he probably has a great home, he's sitting there, but then everything that he's acting at home. So this is where you have the parents that need to reenact good journey. Was it a good journey for the kid? Good practices for the kids. And then so Billy, he'd take no notice of the other fella saying anything to him because his parents have taught him that, but he wouldn't be saying it because he's being taught not to say it. So if that makes any sense. So I can see big thing in a lot of this, but I think it's parents need to step up and adjust their own emotional intelligence and realise what it is with them, figure out their blocks, their trauma, everything, their childhood, their core limiting beliefs, what made them into who they are, what was their, only just done this last night, what was your main, what was the word he said? Your main turning event in life. And I won't talk about mine, but you have these 3 bubbles, and the first bubble is something that happened, maybe a bit of trauma. And then the second, you do an arrow over interaction. And thanks for the boys, Dave Rowan, for teaching me this again last night. There's an arrow that comes over into a second bubble. And the second bubble is, what did you get from that? So without saying it, what happened to me was, it was like I got anger, I got protection for others. I thought I had to help people. I had fear in it, and there's abuse and stuff in it. But punching that over, then I realised that I always felt like I had to be strong. I always felt like I had to protect people. I always felt like I have to look out for people. And the fear, you never show fear. But then to meet the present day, instead of having to be strong, I'd be happy. Instead of having to be, I wish I brought my journal. To be strong was the first. Instead of having fear, that was forced me to be safe. Instead of trying to protect people, be safe. And I was like, and just find pure self-love. Because I felt like in that case I wasn't loved because this was happening. But my dad probably just gave out to me over something. But you have that problem that just brings over into the centerpiece, and you're holding on to these limits and these beliefs for so long. To all of a sudden now you realise. And this, thanks for Brett for telling me this. He says, why hold on to say 2 million seconds of something for something that happened for 2 seconds? Someone that says something as a child, you hold on to for so long, and then you're sitting there going, "Boy, I was told this, I was not good enough," in something that happened then. You're trying to prove your whole life that you're good enough or you're worthy. You know what I mean? But when you start learning the practices and the techniques and do the work on yourself, it's only once the boys say it again, it's just a story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. Change the story. Everyone has a story. Just if you want to hold on to it, but you're going to have repercussions of that story. Just if you're willing to let it go, step into a true version of yourself, authentic version of yourself, you really grow really well. I'm robbing all the boys' content now on Authentic Men here, so I really appreciate. And this just shows you the work that these guys do, and all these guys across the last 5 years, what they've done for me, and they've helped me grow into the man I am now, and truer version of myself, and I'm blessed. And this is what when people say, where'd you come up with the idea and all that, I can have all these stories like the young toys, my sister, Kenny Buck and all, but it's from everything about this is coming from experience as well. Mm-hmm. Realising, I wish I had this book and this bear when I was a kid. I wish my mum and dad had it. So they would be teaching me this, but learning and cultivating and breaking out that unknown awareness, closing that gap.
I guess once upon a time, people used to practice things like gratitude. but it was quite under the setting of religion, which we've like well and truly turned our backs on, like, and we've as a society at large. But like the practice of saying grace, like. It's so hard for people to even contemplate these days because it still uses the word God or Jesus or something, and everybody just immediately just gets triggered and just be like, no, that's awful, that's a lie, the church is evil, right? Like, and people just jump to that so quickly. But it's like people used to sit down before their meals and they used to say grace and they used to say, thank you, God, for this food. And like, and God meant something, and it used to, or it could, and it still can mean something beautiful. It still can be like, thank you,
I'm grateful for the food in front of us.
Yeah, thank you, universe. I'm grateful. I'm really happy. I'm just reminding myself that I'm happy to be here, and I'm reminding myself that I'm excited to eat something delicious and that life is wonderful, right? Like, and it was like there was these practices that were taught to us as a society at large, and then when we like decided that we didn't like the church anymore, we threw away the baby with the bathwater and we got rid of like heaps of things. I actually realized that. So I was brought up Christian actually, and yeah, there's a bunch of problems. Like I can't deny the problems, but I know that like when I personally started to have questions about my religion, I also threw away the baby with the bathwater, because when I threw out religion, I also threw out all the beautiful, loving things that were being given to me by the church, and then they're gone, right? Because then after that, like, well, what are you basing your life value system on if you've thrown away that thing that used to say I'm the champion of cultivating things like love and gratitude and joy and bliss? Because in a purely atheistic, science-driven world, it's cold in that world unless you realize you can still do all these things without.
Yeah. And just on a lot of what you're saying is like, and it says I love going into like a family home, and whether they're Catholics, Muslims, Protestants, or anything like that, and I love sitting having the engagement talk with them, because if you're gonna be anything in this world, whether it's religious, based in society, who you are as a person, gay, straight, any of this, be the best version that you can. Be true to yourself and be that person. And people shouldn't judge. The only reason why a lot of people judge is because they're judging themselves. You know what I mean? If I say to you, if I'm judging you for being Catholic, well, that's the wrong statement. How do we use that? But that's a big term we learned, is you judge people for a lot of stuff you're insecure or triggered about yourself, So don't go around judging people, and people aren't going to judge you. I actually, true story, I was camping there probably about 3 months ago. Brought a friend of mine up camping there, and I love when I go camping. I have this unicorn tracksuit I put on. It's a pair of tracksuit bottoms at the top. It's amazing. I comes out in that, and he goes, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? It's my unicorn tracksuit. So a mate of his sat beside me, and he jumped into a swag till it got dark. I swear to God, right? We were having a buzz with him, having a few drinks, beautiful camping site. There was loads of people around us, and then
what? Just because you were looking too much the fool?
Yeah. I was in a full white unicorn tracksuit, like, and I was comfortable, but I couldn't have done that 5 years ago. And this is what the guy, PJ, his name on, sat beside me. He goes, "Can I ask you a question? How can you sit there so comfortably, like, you know what I mean, where people could be looking at you?" And this, he goes, "Because I'm not judging them." He's like, "What you mean?" He goes, "When you stop judging other people, it doesn't matter whether you don't feel the judgment off other people anymore. You just go, hey, how are you getting on? I'm in a unicorn tracksuit." And people will laugh and joke, and you make them feel comfortable. And this is a huge thing about whether it's religion or anything else that's going on in the world, whatever sex you are, whatever you're going on in your life, what best car you have, what job you have, doesn't matter. Just don't judge anyone. Just congratulate and high five and be grateful for them. You know what I mean? This is where it all falls back. And I did only have a conversation with a guy today, and one of the best human beings I've ever come across. Right? I won't name drop him anyway, but he's an absolute diamond of a man, and he's quite religious. And then I was talking to him about helping me. Would he be interested in donating towards getting a first beer for himself? And he goes, "Aaron, I love you. I love everything about you. He loves me energy." But he's just like, it's spiritually not something I'm going through. I have this, you have that. And I was like, but it's an emotional intelligence beer. You know what I mean? And I said, but because of all of this situation, I want to get this in many homes. So we are removing the symbols from the beer, and it's just going to be the lights in that energy points, which then I'm like, that cures all the answers. So I'm like, great. Now I can get this to all of them without judgment. But that was the one thing he said to me, was he said that, and I recognise that, and I'm like, sorry mate, I said, but you're donating to help because that I'm trying to create that's going to help kids with emotional intelligence. And also I says, that's like you saying you're not going to do breathwork or meditation ever again. You know what I mean? And I'm looking, and I know you keep saying when we say EQ, IQ, and you say WeQ, but it's actually the WeQ is a fourth pillar of it that we're working on, but that's community intelligence. But we used to be EQ, IQ, and SQ. So that's emotional intelligence, IQ, intelligence quota, whatever. I always get that wrong. I'm brutal with words. And then SQ was spiritual intelligence, and this is how it originated. And then once again, the surveys came in: spiritual, religious, you're gonna have a problem. If you want to go global, it's not gonna happen. So the guy says to me, I says, well, what are we going to do? He goes, well, what's spiritual intelligence to you? I said, it's all about personal development for me, like yoga, meditation, breath work, or anything that comes inner for me that is really enhancing me and who I am. And he goes, all right. And I goes, actually, what about the word MeQ? And this is what we're basing, this is the third pillar on. And I've come up with the word MeQ. If you actually look at MeQ in the dictionary, it comes up as, I think it's a periodic element. So I was looking up, and then so we're actually putting in a trademark for MeQ. So fingers crossed, if all goes well, I've created my own word and put it in the dictionary. So MeQ is about your personal intelligence. It's you. You have emotions, you have the IQ, but it's about anything that you can enhance from to make you and everyone else around you better.
Well, until it's in the dictionary, you could go and start a wiki page on it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you write a Wikipedia page and publish the Wikipedia page, and then as the first author on the page, it's just like, well, now it's defined. There it is.
It's there. Yeah, because when you actually go to do that, going back to the business as well, I think there's like 12 different sections of things. So we actually got the word gratitude bear trademarked, and then I think we got it into two sections. One was toys, and one was, I forget what the other one was now. But it's I had the IP specialist, he got them for me. We actually got design registration on the beer with the layouts of the mar and everything, and then after that we actually got, would you believe we got a patent? I was like, there's no way. Look, we were going, he was looking at, this guy's a genius, and he said, right, let's see if we can get it. Toys have been around since, teddy bears have been around since the dawn of time, you know. Books have been around, you know, all this. So it's hard to get a concept. But we actually put it in as an emotional, intelligent, educational toy, which is what it is. But we didn't think that would work. And when we put it in, we got a patent on a toy that is based on emotional intelligence. It was a very basic patent, but it's something, you know what I mean? It's protection. So that was a big celebratory moment for me there. We got that about a year ago. So it was really good moving forward into the project with a slight patent that can protect us a small bit. But yeah, so it's been some journey, like.
Yeah, for sure, man. You've got a book published. You've got a toy here. You've got a team. You're gonna be distributing these products. You're getting things made. You're talking about the feel of the band, the journey and the design. It's it's a bit of a trip.
Yeah, man, I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah. The business side of it is quite stressful. I come from a background of a tradie for close to maybe 20 years now, Jesus. No, 16. Yeah, it wouldn't be fair. Just say 18 years. And then up to everything I've ever done with any electrical company I've ever worked for was a Sparky, like, and then I've always, without tooting my own horn on my ego here, I've always excelled in every company I've been. I've always stepped up. I've been present, but I'm a good worker, and I'm hard, and I've a bit of knowledge to me. Like, I'm a smart kid, like. And then just even there for the last 3 years, I've been helping in a mining company. Well, working for a mining company that was I was running their electrical side of the company. Just me and another guy were back to back. He was like project manager, aka he was supervisor, but I was back to back supervisor with him. So 1 week out of every 2 weeks, I was running the electrical mining company up north. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, sometimes I'd be sitting there and goes, how did I pull this one off? Like, you know what I mean? I always try and excel and get into what I wanted, but stepping from that into, look, I even had my own electrical business for 3 years, and unfortunately the company that I subcontracted off went bust, and there was a bit of money owed and stuff, but I knew they had been people like let them down with money, so they couldn't. So I was like, right, and then I go back into mining, and then from the mining I excelled. But that's the only taste of business I got, running my own business, and then stepping into that, and then stepping into the beer, and stepping into the business world. That's a scary place, like. I mean, the knowledge and experience you have to have getting in.
Yeah, you'll work it out.
Huh?
You'll work it out.
No, I am. But I mean,
especially like, you know, if you've got this intention clear, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna sell 1 million of these things in this year. That's a simple statement.
What, 1 million bears?
Yeah.
But see, I got a good point, because I'm very fortunate that the guy that runs the IP development company, he's Indian. And his development team is Indian. They love this as part of their practice on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like Hinduism or Buddhism that bases back on chakras and stuff, which you want to go into the religious side, but they love it. But then they'd be saying to me, like, they're trying to teach their kids this on a daily basis, the practice of our energies and meditation, breath work and all. And now, when I brought this toy to them, it was like a hallelujah moment from them. Like, oh my God, we're going to give this to all our kids across India and stuff like that, and it's going to really help with their basis of how to move forward. I was like, yeah, cool. I never really thought of the Asian market on the back end of it. And like we said, I could be wrong, there's like 1.2 billion. Is there 1.2 billion people live in India? Or is it
Yeah.
1.2, and then with the Asia, Chinese. So we're saying like there's 2 something billion between there, China, all the different.
There's no shortage of kids, man.
I know.
Yeah.
But just them alone. So my Indian, my guy Vivek, he says to me that if we just tap into 1% of that market, you're looking at whatever that is, a million or 10 million. You know what I mean? He goes, you have it sorted, but he says we have to do it right. We have to get all of this part right, and then when we get into the marketing strategy stages, we need to get the Asian Indian investors in, and then the Chinese Indian, just have all these Asian investors that are there, and they know that this toy will take off because it represents everything that they believe in. So it's good to have a toy like that. And I'm sorry for saying, but your man actually said, he says, don't worry about the Western world. You know what I mean? You're only coming around to all this. We've been doing this for generations, you know. You're only stepping into a lot of the work that we do with gratitude practice and all. He says, you're copping on now, but he says, we've been doing it for so long. So I don't know, fingers crossed, that million bears I'm talking about could be a lot more across the Asian market and stuff like that. But once again, the business strategy and how that's going to work, I haven't got a clue. I've been forced enough to get these right people in. Even though I'm saying that, God bless him, Vivek, he's not charged me 1 penny. He's been working with me over a year. He has to charge for when we've done the patent design registration, all of that, but he hasn't charged one penny for his time. It's amazing the people that come in when they see a project that they love and they're just like, right. But they're all going to get rewarded in the end. I have a plan. It's called an ESOP program. It's an employee share program. So you work off milestones and stuff. So you give away a percentage of the business. So I'm going to put all of these into a pool, put them straight in, wherever it is to split. If we become successful, they're going to own 5% of the business moving forward. And if you sell 1 million beers, you're turning into $100 million business. So they'd be laughing. They'll have 5 million. I look after them somehow. I'll never forget them. You know what I mean? I'm so grateful for everything that everyone has jumped in and done for me, you know? But it's been a mad roller coaster, like.
Yeah. Gratitude Bear Project.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That sounds like a nice endpoint. Would you like to showcase the bear or tell us a little bit more about how the product will work?
Let's see if we still on first, because we were practicing a minute ago. So this is.
I'm just going to be the eyes for anyone who's just purely listening. So again, we've got Gratitude Bear sitting with us on the table, and Aaron has a book that accompanies it, which is going to have interactive buttons in the book embedded in the future. But right now he's got a magic wand.
It's like an interactive pen, and we've encoded these codes on the inside. So when we press that, it signals the bear, the speaker, and the code, and then it speaks.
Yeah, cool.
So let's see if we can get this one going. So this is going to be on the third eye. Now flop.
I'm so grateful for my dreams as they can take me wherever I want to go. Thank you.
So that was just on the superpower of magic, which is based on the third eye, which we say, and it's imagination and creativity. So this one's on the superpower of the mind and connection. So the pen on, little headlights up.
This is the gratitude for connection. I'm so grateful to have all my friends, family, and community in my life as they make me feel loved every day. Thank you.
Lovely. And we do. This is actually my favourite, self-love, because that's a big one that I found in myself the last few years. And I'm very grateful for my girlfriend Sinead as well, because she's really shown me everything in the last 3 years and helped me really develop. And you know, she's been a godsend. She just, like, what's the word I'm even looking for? She's like, you know, when you have a superhero. But if you're a you know, like, it's great when your superhero believes in you. Because with her being my superhero, like, I feel like I can just achieve anything. You know, she's always pushed me in the right direction. You know, we're a typical boyfriend and girlfriend. You know what I mean? We have our own. But like, it's like, so with self-love.
What's her name?
Sinead.
Sinead.
Absolutely amazing woman. Like, she's a gift. She's an absolute legend. But there's a shout out to you, babe. Love you loads. So this is on self-love. The green button light up there. Can you hold that speaker there for a second?
Yeah, mate.
I can reach in.
Oh. Hang on, I'll put it on this one.
Yeah. Let's see what we get. Oh, there we go.
This is the gratitude for self-love. I'm so grateful for everything about me. I am unique and there is no one else like me. Thank you.
That's my favourite one. I love it.
Beautiful.
But it says, like, based on that, then the parent does that with the kid with the interactive button, and then the parent sits and reads that That's what 1, 2, 3. You're talking about 20 lines, 30 lines of a great story. The kids are going to love the stories, but then you're going to get the parents sitting there going, "Oh, if I'm trying to teach my kid this, I don't do it myself." That's the trigger. That's the trigger I'm hoping to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the project. That's a part of the life. That's a part of everything I've been working on. And
Family-friendly toys. I wouldn't have picked it coming. The last few times I've got to hang out with you were at Blazing Swan Festival. Actually, I do want to talk festivals. So we're at Blazing Swan Festival, which is. Man, it's a festival that is actually bursting with gratitude and self-love and just like love.
Disneyland for adults.
Yeah, man, but it's got so much good energy and so much good vibes. And I got to take my mum to Blazing Swan a few years ago because I was like, "Mum, come check this out. This is actually what the church has wanted to do." Like, you know, that this is the greeting that the church wanted to do. This is the acceptance that the church wants to be able to give to each person for the way that they are. This is the way that we want to hold each other and have conversations and laugh and dance and a whole bunch of other stuff.
You didn't bring it to the Church of Belligerence though, did you? No. That's the opposite of what the church wants to do.
I love Kristen from the Church of Belligerence, but the Church of Belligerence did always scare me a lot because
of that hectic, aren't they?
Oh man, but just like
beautiful hectic.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's the last places that I caught you. One of the things that I'm working on doing at the moment with this podcast, or have started doing with this podcast, is I want to fully document the story of the creation of the Ningaloo Eclipse Festival. I talked about it in the intro. We've got an amazing Eclipse event happening in Western Australia next year. Which is cool. I know the last two were in Patagonia and Oregon, and then now
you're holding the festival here now in Australia for that next year.
We're all holding it, man. It's coming to Western Australia. You're there. You're holding it.
I'll have to get more information off you.
Well, no, we're talking about it right now. It doesn't exist. Yeah. Well, it does exist. It exists because you and I are talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to talk to everyone who's going to be there in any way, but I'm also wanting to talk to all the big players and the big organizers who are going to be organizing it, and I want to jump in some regard as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's a big festival.
Is there just on that? So are you allowed whole team camps in that if they're going to be a festival, or is it going to be
It hasn't been created, so we can do whatever you want.
Oh, right.
So it doesn't exist, but it does exist.
We have an event that's going to happen, and let's create an event around it.
Well, yeah, because an event is going to happen, and it's going to be a phenomenal event, and it's coming, right? And it just happens to be like in our state, it's coming to Western Australia. It's in doing some research for of Eclipse and how they work. It's kind of like the Olympics or the football, right? Like, every 4 years you have an Olympics or you have a football finals, right? But that's decided, like the location of that Olympics or that football event is decided by like a bunch of people in the community who are just like, and the next city is going to be Tokyo, and this is done by the universe, right? Like, and so it's every 18 months, it's in a random place. Most of the time it's in the ocean. The other half of the time the weather's shit or it's somewhere stupid. And so it's pretty irregular. There's a good one. And there's a perfect one coming to Exmouth, which is a place that is perfect for looking at stars and for watching the sun, because Exmouth, you been?
Yeah, beautiful.
My God, like, the world up there is phenomenal for anything to do in the sky. So it's happening it's happening now in our backyard, right? Like it's happening in our backyard. So it's your events, right? in some ways, people are coming for it, right? But you live here, right? And I live here, and so yeah, I'm. I don't know. I'm just chatting.
No, I love it, man.
Tell me what you'd want to see at that kind of event.
Well, that's a big picture for me, but I will tell you what we've started to do the last year, because this year was going to be one of the first times we actually got the opportunity to hold a team camp at Blaze.
Yep.
We've been working on
Splooge?
Yeah, Splooge Lounge.
Splooge Lounge.
There's a long description of how we came up with that name, but that's we'll keep that for another day.
Yeah.
But we started off a couple of years ago. Marie and Bonesy got married. Do you remember that wedding that we had at Place? Beautiful couple, amazing family. We had it there, but instead of, we were saying there was 150 of us going down, and instead of all of us bringing a barbecue and bringing a fridge and bringing any of the essentials that you need for self-sufficient for 5 days. We decided to create our own little camp in the campsite. And sure, it went off without a hitch. Like at one stage, like we done cocktail and disco party on the Saturday, where all our mates are DJs. We came down with a few tunes going on during the day and stuff, and it went off. It was beautiful. You know what I mean? We were like, oh, we can actually do this. And then we were going to hold an event at Blaze again. I think it was the following year after that, and then that's the first COVID-stricken one where it didn't happen. And then it was a few months after that we held a free event because we raised loads of money for it. We held a free event out Bush, and it was amazing. But it was only 80 or 90 of our closest friends. So then we were going to do everything with Blaze again this year. Got cancelled, so I says, right. My mate, it was one of the girls, Mandy, Kenny's missus, said it to me, would you be interested in holding an event? And I was just like, she wrote it on the Facebook, let's hold this Blues, lads. So we like said it to Sully, me shouted to Sully and Bruno, man, two godsend of lads, like, and then all the DJs, everyone that came down just to help set up and take down. It was amazing. But we held an event for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on my mate's land, Simon Coakley, amazing land out near Bruce Rock, and he has a land out there, man. He let us use it, looking down through a valley, looking out over the sun drop coming down. It was absolutely amazing. Got 250 people down for 3 days, and we charged them $30. Other events on, but a Dream State was on. It was probably $200 for the ticket. All these 185. 250 people came down and was family orientated. So we brought down, people brought their kids. One of my mates brought his missus, the kids, and the 2 dogs down. People brought their dogs down, and it was just running around. Friday was like Freedom Funky Friday. Saturday was cocktail and disco. And Sunday we had a minion party. So we had like 200 people running around dressed as minions, just acting up. It was brilliant. So if you want to hold an event like that, and I have the right people and the right people, so I have the right bit of land we could talk about, you know what I mean? If you're talking,
oh man, it's got to be an Exmouth though. So you can't use the land. And
we'll just get a bus down. We'll bring everything up, like, and we'll hold a little team camp there as part of a thing. If it's going to go in that direction, we have the right people to do it. Like it's all about family, friend, and fun. You know what I mean? We're all about people hugging, kissing, gratitude, holding hands, having fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I love about it. The end of the event that we done, it was just people were so grateful over the Easter, just having somewhere to go for minimum amount of cost and just the most amount of fun. Yeah, it was absolutely fabulous. Like, so. Yeah,
cool. There we go. That's it. That's the vision.
Put that down as a breakdown. But if there's anything happening,
there's a bunch of things you said that I really like that are in my mind. The idea of going up there on buses, I actually really like. I'd love to see like fucking 100 coach buses.
Everybody rocking up, you know what I mean?
And then rock up in this wonderful part of the world and having like buses be able to take you to all different destinations while you're up there.
Because down like a 5 day, like if you're doing like a 5-6 day event or something, you can do like for 3 days there, but then you can do something on the way up, stop off halfway. It's a long drive, like, and then have something on for the people that rock up there. Not even a festival, like a gathering, a barbecue or something, a big meeting point, and everyone gets to meet each other, socialise, and then back onto the bus for the next.
You could create all kinds of adventures, man. You
do anything.
You create
Come
a lot
back
of adventures.
down through Cartagena, then across the middle, and then see a bit of the country.
I also like the shared resource thing. It's just like instead of everybody bringing a barbecue, it's just like, well, don't, because that's annoying and it's hard to pack for you to pack everything. Yep. Pull your resources.
A big communal station.
Yeah, pull your resources. Put a big thing together. I think there's going to have to be a communal effort you don't have to, but I think a communal effort will make the experience much nicer and easier, because Exmouth is barren. It's empty. There's nothing nearby. It's hard to get to. But if people pitch together to make a communal effort as opposed to make an independent effort, then we'll be able to put together something beautiful.
100%. So, and loads of activities on. Like we done a sports day on the Saturday, and then we done like Kundalini yoga, breathwork, and all on the Sunday. That didn't go through because the guy that was coming fell through. He had God bless, he was looking after his daughter today, so we just came up with things to do. And then we had like cocktail show on and stuff like that. We made Maggie. Forgetting her name, Maggie Payne. She put on a little show making cocktails and all, but it was just we just got everyone engaged, you know. It was amazing, like, you know. I mean, you can see by me smiling on my face how much fun it was, and that's keeping it legit, you know.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome, Aaron. Thank you.
Can't wait to keep you involved in any activities you have going forward as well.
And for sure. Thank you. But thanks so much for the project that you're doing with Gratitude Bear and the energy that you're wanting to bring to the world there. Man, I wish you lots of success in selling 1 million of these things and taking it into lots of different people's homes, and the onward trip that you're going to go through in the business development of this, the sharing of this, and everything that comes from it. And
if anyone wants to help out now, we are doing the Kickstarter campaign, and like every little helps, and it's going towards the manufacturing and production of the business, you know what I mean? And then you get rewarded with a beer at the end of it if you pick the right tier. So we're not just getting money off people and going, you know what I mean? It's going to a cause. It's going
So
to
search Kickstarter The Gratitude Bear, or check out the Gratitude Bear website. Check out the Gratitude Bear on socials, or have
I'll
a look.
send you the link if you want. You can throw it up on it.
Have a look on our website, and I'll have links to all of the Gratitude Bear works and Aaron's works on there as well. So wicked.
Thanks, brother.
Cool.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Cheers, mate.
Bye bye.